Hello and welcome to the Successful Artists Bootcamp. I am so pleased that you are here. Huge welcome to you all. Now, one thing that I really want to stress is that you must give time for yourself to be able to succeed in this bootcamp because I'm going to be giving you some homework. So you need to kind of be prepared for that. Now, some of you may have already got the book. If you haven't and you want the book, then the link is below and you can get yourself a copy. But I'm also giving you some downloads, so you don't have to buy the book. Now, one of the things that you are going to have to do is to have some kind of notebook, sketchbook, something like that for you to write down your ideas and for you to do your homework. Oh yes, I've gone a little bit into school teacher mode for this boot camp, but I think you'll appreciate it. Okay, so what are we going to be doing? The course is divided into 5 parts, and we're going to do the first 4 parts over the next 4 weeks, and then the 5th one is going to be an ongoing thing. Now, I would suggest that you give yourself about 5 hours a week to devote yourself to this project if you want to get the most out of it. It's really important. I say this a lot when people want to improve their art, when they want to improve their skills, when they want to learn something new. All of these things take time, and it's not something that you can rush. So there's that side of it. But there's also you valuing this. You valuing the time spent to enable you to do the things that you want to do. Because sometimes we're not very good at that, are we? We're really not. So I'm going to take you through the first part. You need to get yourself ready. So you need to have pens and paper, either the workbook or the worksheets. Get those ready. And then we can absolutely start, because in this first week, we're going to go through 6 steps and you need to do them all. No skipping, okay? No bunking off. Give yourself the time to do this. This is your gift to yourself. Right, I'm just going to change the camera angle and we're going to get going. Now, I really love using a fountain pen. And with this book, I've adapted it from when I first did the course, which was a few years ago. And the reason I changed it, one, I wanted to put a ring bind thing on it. What are they called? Wire bound, aren't they? Yes. But also I wanted to have paper that I could write with an ink pen on. So that's what I did. You write with whatever you want. If you want to write with a biro, you do that. If you want to use colouring pencils, you do that. Get yourself organised. Use the pens that you love to use. The process is to be enjoyed. It's not supposed to be arduous. So we are going to be working through the book. I'm going to show you various ways that you can do that. But the other thing that you can do is you can work in a sketchbook like this, or a notebook, and you can just write lots of ideas. You can play around with your thoughts. So I hope you are all ready, because what you're going to do first of all, let's just get to my bit, is that you're going to do a bit of a brain dump. And this is where we really get to play. And we really think about the things that we love to do, the things that make us happy, the things that we've kind of thought we might like to do. So you're going to use this page, the things I'd like to do page, and you're going to just write down everything everything that you're interested in. So it could be something that you've dreamed about doing, you've seen somebody else do it and you think, oh, I'd love to have a go at that. Or it could be something that you've done for a while, but you just want to get better and better at it. But don't think about it too much. You're just going to dump it all down. So I've just done a bit of an illustration here of what I want. This is in my older book that didn't take the ink pen very well. And so I've just put down things like children's books and art journaling, painting with oils, and watercolour, a bit of graphic design. And then I've just put loads of things down. I've put sort of exhibitions, still life, narrative. There is no kind of logic to this. You are just using this as a place to just, whoa, put everything down. Take your time. This first step, step 1, should take a week, because what I want you to be doing is adding to it. And you might add something every day. If you can do a little bit every day, that works really well. I know that's not possible sometimes, but just really be thinking about it, because what will happen when you start to write is that you'll think, oh yes, that would be a really nice thing to do. What I don't want you to worry about is the how. That comes way later. We are still on the first step of what. So we're going to do what, and what things do you want to be doing? I'm just going to go back to my sketchbook. So this is something that I did with a load of students in a workshop boot camp quite a long time ago now, actually. And I just really wanted them to make their notes as part of the art. And you could do that as well if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. One of the things that I really like to do personally is to use different colours. And, you know, that can be something that you might like to do as well. So this becomes your mind map, your brain dump, and you're just going to write everything down. So that was part 1 of the first step. And we're now going to go on to part 2. And what you're going to do is you're going to use your mind map. Let's go back to this one here. Got lots of scribbles and doodles and all of this kind of thing. And what you're going to do is to use any kind of colours that are going to work for you. But I want you to divide these up into whether you are really good at this, so you just want to get better, whether you have a bit of skill and you want to improve that, or whether you have no skill at all and so you need to start from the beginning. So use whatever words you like. Now, I like words like beginner, fairly competent, and competent. Try not to use negative words, but use the words that mean something to you. That is really important, because when I put a little note here, a little note to myself here, don't be negative. We all start somewhere. And in this part 2, this is actually really important. So looking at this one here, I've kind of put blue as a beginner, purple as fairly competent, and pink as competent. And looking at this bit here of surface design, products for the home, I'm kind of fairly competent on that, but there are a few things that I need to be able to do. Okay, still life, fairly competent on that. All of that kind of thing. Filmmaking and documentary. This was a few years ago, and I was an absolute beginner on this. And so I thought, no, that's what I want to do. I want to do some filmmaking and documentary stuff, some narrative storytelling, and I'm a beginner on that. So what you're going to do, go through your list. Now, you may have done a list, or it may be a mind map. Whatever it is, start to highlight those 3 things. Are you an absolute beginner? Are you in the middle somewhere? Or are you actually quite competent? And this is part 2. So let's move that there. Part 2 of using your list to categorise. And only you can make that decision. You decide where you are. But don't write things like, I'm absolutely rubbish at this. Try not to be so negative. We all have to start somewhere. We absolutely do. So that's what you're going to do for part 2 of the first step. So well done for completing parts 1 and 2. We're going to move on to part 3. This is a kind of the practical, the logical, the sensible bit, because you're going to determine what equipment you need, whether you've got it already, whether this is something that you need to buy. So you're going to look through all of the things that you want to do, and then you're going to identify what equipment you need and write it down. Now, again, I really want you to work on this, because for some things in art and design, we need tools that are actually quite expensive. And we need to work out whether this is something we're going to start right away, or whether it's something that we'll have to wait. But it's still really important that you write it down, because this becomes part of your plan. And the plan is the key. This is what is going to enable you to do all of the things that you want to do over a period of time, rather than just kind of think, I don't know where to start. It's a starting point. So go through your list. Now, it could be that you want to get really good at jelly plate printing, for example, and you've got a jelly plate, but you've just got one, and you think, actually, what I really want is a big one. Let's go for a big jelly plate. And, they're not inexpensive. They're really not. So that might be part of your budget. So you're going to have a bit of a budget. You're going to write that down. That's what I need. Now, it might be that you want to get better at doing watercolour, and you have got some watercolour brushes, but they're they're beginners ones. And what you really need is some, a bit better quality. And so you're going to write that down as well. And it might be that you just buy one brush, but it's a really good one. and I'm a bit passionate about my brushes. I have some very expensive brushes that I have had for years. Oh, I mean years, like 20 years. Because I look after them, as I'm sure you do as well. Now, there might be other equipment, like cameras, for example. You might want to explore photography. So you're looking at cameras, lenses, and it may be that you do have a camera, but you want to get a better one, or you want to buy some more lenses, that kind of stuff. Or it might be that you actually want to invest in some software. So you might want to get a program, buy a program, so that you can develop your software skills, your art and design skills online, that kind of thing. So all your sort of digital experiments, you might want to invest in some sort of program to do that. Write that down. It might be that you want to use some really good quality paper. Put that down as well. Again, don't think about how you're going to do it. At this point, we are just getting the logical steps of the practical side of things, of the things that you want to do. Now, for me, quite a long time ago, I knew I wanted to get a box or a tin of the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, which I absolutely love. And if you watch any of my tutorials on YouTube, you will know how much I love these pencils. I mean, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It'd be great if I was, because I use them all the time. I love them. They are not cheap. And it was something that I had in my mind I really wanted to do. And I just put in a bit of a plan in my mind to say, I am going to get a tin of those pencils. That is my aim. And it's things like that. But the other thing is, when people ask me, my family are lovely, and they'll say, what do you want for Christmas, for your birthday? My children will say, what do you want? And I'll say, I'd really like one of those brushes. And they'll go, yeah, brilliant. And so they will get together and buy me a really lovely paintbrush, things like that. So it's about kind of thinking the practical aspects of the things that you want to do. Because what I don't want you to do is to dismiss doing something because you think it's just way out of your league. Come back here. We're doing a bit of dreaming, a bit of daydreaming. We are allowed to do that. So there's some equipment that you might be able to buy. There's some equipment that you might be able to hire. And there's some equipment that you might be able to go somewhere to use. Now I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you want to do ceramics and pottery, and you don't have a kiln, you don't have a potter's wheel, and you don't have the space or the capacity to be able to have that in your home. There are places, and there'll be a place relatively near you, wherever you are in the world, where you will be able to go and use their equipment, and you can hire the space and things like that. So it could be, yes, I want to do ceramics. Yes, I need to find somewhere where there's a potter's wheel and a kiln, and that is your action point. You need to write that one down. That's what I need to do to be able to do that. And that could be the same for things like screen printing. And even if I'm just trying to think of something that is even more extravagant than that, glass blowing, something like that, blacksmith. Yeah, those sorts of things. Don't dismiss these things that are in your mind just because you think it's impossible to do. Don't do that. Oh no. So go through your list, and as you start going through your list, other things will start popping in and you'll start adding to your list. You just will. So that is, where are we? We're on part 3 of step 1 of what equipment do you need? So off you go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed those first 3 parts to step 1 of the what. We're now on to the next bit, which is part 4 of do you need a teacher? Now, this is really important because for some things, you know that you can just develop your idea, you know what you're doing, you're just going to build up on the expertise that you already have. But there are going to be other things where you know that you are going to need some instruction. You're going to need someone to help you and guide you. And that could be someone that you find online. One of the reasons that I set up my YouTube channel in the first place was because a couple of people that I was doing workshops with, who were coming to my workshops, one of them became really quite poorly and she wasn't able to attend, and she said to me, why don't you just sort of record your lesson? Could you please record your lesson and then you can send it to me? And so I did, and she really enjoyed it, and then she said to me, you should put these on YouTube. So I did. And yes, and that's proved to be hugely enjoyable, actually, really lovely. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, then what are you doing? But joking aside, there are so many fantastic instructors on YouTube that you can access for absolutely free. And it's a brilliant starting place. So if you know that you need to have instruction, you need to think about how you're going to do that. So obviously online you can do that. But the other thing that you can do is to look locally at the artists and teachers near you and think about attending a class. I had a student of mine a couple of years ago when we were doing the boot camp who really wanted to do calligraphy. I am not a calligrapher. And so I kind of directed her in finding someone who could teach her. She didn't really want to go online. She wanted to have a bit of one-to-one, and she'd put a budget aside for it. And it was brilliant. And I think she had 3 or 4 lessons with this calligrapher, and she learnt tons. It was amazing. And I had another student who wanted to do bookbinding, and she attended a bookbinding weekend, which sounded absolutely marvellous, actually. It was down here in the southwest of England where I live, a little bit further west. It was down towards Devon and Cornwall. And it sounded absolutely amazing, this 2-day course. Lots of nice things to eat as well. So, which is always a good thing on a course, I think. So think about, do you need a teacher? So start to go through your list again and identify those bits where you think, yeah, I am going to need some instruction here. And then decide whether you're going to need a bit of one-to-one, whether you can find an instructor online through YouTube or through various other courses, Teachable and Udemy and all of that kind of stuff, or somebody local. So you make that decision, go through your list. As you do this, other things will start to pop into your head, and so you can start to add to your journal or however you are making your notes, because you are making notes, aren't you? Oh yes, you need to be doing that. And yeah, so that's the next part. So end of part 4, and then we're going to go on to part 5, which may be the trickiest bit, just to warn you. So we're at part 5, and this is the hardest bit, I think, of step 1, because this is when you're going to choose some things to start with. But it's not going to be too daunting, because I have a bit of a method. So you may have 20 or 30 or 40 or even 50 things that you have said that you wanted to do, that you want to do. What you're going to do now is to identify 6. You're going to come back to the others as well. Don't worry about it. You're going to come back. They're not. And now we're on to part 6 of step 1. This is the final part. And again, this bit is really important, so no skipping it. You are going to block out time in your calendar, your diary. Now, you can use the diary that you use normally, or you could use the weekly planner in the workbook if you want to. It's entirely up to you how you do this, but it's really important that you block out some time for yourself. Time to complete all 6 bits of step 1. And I can't stress this enough, actually. Don't miss it. It's block out the time. Now, ideally, doing a little bit every day is the best thing. But it's not always possible, is it? And it might be, no, I've just got Saturday morning, I'm going to do it. Everyone is doing something else, the family are out, I've got time for myself. I'm going to sit down for 2 or 3 hours and I'm just going to work through it. But make sure that this week you put aside 5 hours and you go through all 6 parts and enjoy it. Enjoy it. This is really important. This process is to help you get yourself focused and be successful as an artist. And sometimes the process can be a bit arduous and a bit stressful, but other times it can be wonderful and really, really exciting. And put something in the comments. Ask me any questions. I'm really, really open to questions. If you want to pop something in the comment, just ask a question. Somebody else might have already asked the question. Doesn't matter. It's your question. You put it in. If you've got a question, you do that. If you haven't joined the Facebook group yet and you want to do that, I've got 2 Facebook groups for my students. One is the Friday Art and Doodle Club, which has taken off quite dramatically, which is really nice. And the other one is the Successful Artists BootCamp Facebook group, which I have restarted. So that will be new. And if you want to join that, then you are very welcome. And there won't be very many people in it at the moment because I've just started it again, because I felt that I needed a refresh. You know, I sort of updated the book, I've updated the course, and so I've started new. So that is the end of step 1 and week 1. 6 parts. Make sure that you go through everything, and then I'm just going to find the book. If there are things that you don't understand, or just drop me a line. I'm very, very happy to do that. Oh no, I still can't find the bit that I was looking for. There is a little checklist at the end of each chapter. Okay, so there's no getting away. And I really hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next week for step 2. Bye bye.